Preface. Climate change is a controversial topic. Just over 1 in 2 Americans believe global warming is caused mostly by human activity, and there is even less agreement on what should be done about it. In fact, the science is unambiguous. Human emissions of greenhouse gases have warmed the Earth by 1 degree Celsius in the past century, and the current emissions trajectory will result in 4 degrees Celsius to 6 degrees Celsius of warming by the end of this century, with potentially disastrous consequences for humanity. The science is similarly unambiguous on what must be done to avoid catastrophe. Reduce emissions of greenhouse gases to zero, ideally by 2050 and no later than 2070. Fortunately, there is a path for achieving this. Commercial solutions already exist to reduce emissions by more than half, and technologies are under development to tackle the rest. But avoiding catastrophe will require implementation of climate solutions at an unprecedented pace and at global scale, and that will require an extraordinary amount of investment capital, an estimated $125 trillion by 2050 to decarbonize the global economy and limit warming to an adaptable 1.5 degrees Celsius to 2 degrees Celsius. Investing in the era of climate change focuses on the implications for investors and the role that investment plays in addressing climate change. Governments also have a critical role, ensuring emissions are regulated and capital is properly incentivized. Yet, engagement of the private sector is critical to implement climate solutions at the scale and speed needed to address the climate challenge. Climate change is global, and the implications for investors are global as well. However, to provide focus, this audiobook is written from an American perspective. Investors in other countries will experience similar trends, challenges, and opportunities as in the United States, and the lessons are applicable globally. Note that investing in the era of climate change does not explain every climate solution or technology, nor every investment product or opportunity, as there are too many to include in a single volume. I began investing in climate change solutions in 2002. At that time, there were few investment opportunities because climate solutions were costly and uncompetitive without generous government subsidies. 20 years later, much has changed. Climate change is significantly worse, and less time remains to address it. But the technologies and business models for reducing emissions have dramatically improved, offering a path for avoiding catastrophic climate change. Investing in the era of climate change describes that path and the critical role that investors play in navigating it. My hope in writing this audiobook is that every investor, individual and institutional, will recognize the changes that are coming and act for their benefit and the benefit of all.